My daughter, she comes up to me every Sunday because she knows it's a time where daddy's just glad that service went good or something. And every Sunday after church, she says, Daddy, this Bella, you did so good. I said, thank you, Bella. I said, what's up? Can I get a slushie after we leave here? And I said, yeah, baby. We can get a slushie after we leave church. At that moment, I tell her she can get a slushie. She does not think about it again unless she has to remind me that I said. What makes her a child, she didn't ask, have you paid all the bills, Dad? She didn't ask, did the finances line up with the budget this week? She didn't ask, do we have gas in the car? She didn't ask, did you and mommy discuss this first? When she heard her father say it, she completely trusted it. And God is saying that too many of his children have become so mature that they have stopped trusting his word. And he said, and if you want to be the greatest in the kingdom, you're going to have faith like a little child. That trust when God says you're going to be healed. It's not like, well, what happened if I'm going to trust what my father said. I'm going to trust my family's going to be reconciled. I'm going to trust that my child who keeps costing me all this money and disappointing me because they're doing everything against what we taught them. I'm going to trust that somehow, God, you're going to carry their heart back to you. I'm going to trust you. The problem is most of us don't have faith like that. We hope God will do it, but we don't believe he will. And I'm praying that through this series, that you will begin to believe like these disciples didn't believe at this time. That if the way that you're going to walk in crazy faith is having baby faith. The ability to just trust God at his word. The ability to say, God, if you said it, if you told me you were going to protect me, if you told me you were going to turn all these situations around, if you told me you would equip me for everything you called me to, if you told me that before I was formed in my mother's womb, you knew me and you had a plan for me, a plan to prosper me and not to harm me, a plan to give me a hope in a future, I'm going to take you at your word. I trust you, God, and I put my faith on it. But I can tell by how you've planned your whole life without him that you don't really trust him. Because all of us have areas in our life that we're mad at God because he didn't line up with our timetable. Come on, because if God was really listening, I'd be married by now. She said, ha ha, ha ha. Because if God was really about his business, my children's college would be paid for. I'd have a little money in the 401k. And God says, if you plan me out of your life, you cannot be dependent on me. And the only way you can have faith is to bring it down to a place of dependency. Trust. My babies don't get up and ask where their next meal is coming from. They trust the provider in the house that when they wake up every morning, everything they need will be there. My daughter has never asked, Daddy, are the lights coming on tomorrow? Because she's not even worried about those things because she is trusting. She has faith in her father. And my question to you is, do you have faith in your father? And I need to be very sensitive in this moment as we talk about this, because in psychological terms, they tell us that a lot of us have association habits and tendencies where if we were hurt or damaged by somebody that was supposed to be a father figure or a parental figure in our life, then we usually associate that when we start to talk about God. And it's very hard to have faith in something that you can't believe in. And so like if you had a deadbeat father or an absentee mother and they said, I'm going to come pick you up this Saturday, and they don't show up, And then you'll be like, well, maybe they were busy. And then you wait next Saturday, and then you're like, well, maybe they were really busy. And then you come the next week and they don't show up, and then you start feeling like maybe they don't want to come. And they don't show up the next time, and you're like, they're never coming. And then they show up at your 18th birthday or your graduation from high school and be like, that's my baby, look at it, you look just like your daddy. And you're like, shut up. Like, cause you're like, you haven't been here any of the time. And what happens is they say, well, I want to take you out for lunch today. And you don't put any faith in it because they disappointed you time and time again. And then you find Christ somewhere along the way, and they tell you he's a heavenly father and that you can trust him and he's a good father. But what happens is you can't get past the faith that you've seen in real life. And so you associate what people have done with you and you put it on God. And so when it comes to being dependent or trusting or having faith, it's very hard to do because you've never seen it in real life. And all I'm asking you on behalf of God is, could you take him off of the standard of humans? Could you please release what they did to you and give God an opportunity to be Abba, the Father who will never disappoint you, the Father who will be there in the midst of a trial, because that's the only way you can truly trust. You can't have faith in something that you don't believe in. And I ain't even talking about crazy faith. I'm talking about baby faith.